Hi guys, welcome to my art studio. Hi Cindy, sorry I missed you. I tend to go out and do my grocery shopping and my errands on Monday afternoon. I realized I am looking for a paper towel. I don't seem to have any, but I know I have paper towels. Oh, they're behind me. So tonight I'm trying to make some stuff that I can use as for cards. So this is my Lucas half pan set. Oh, I use it all the time. It has roughage in it from being outside with it. I don't remember how many pieces there are in it. Probably 36 it looks like. So they're one of my favorites. Here is what we're going to work on today. We'll probably finish that. Hi, sweetie. So it says, enjoy the little things. I have to work on the lettering, but I wanted to kind of lay it out. Usually I paint first, but tonight I think I'm going to draw it first, or, outline it first, not the middle, but everything else. So I started with the main flower bunch over here, and I had saw someone else's that kind of did a heart, so I added that to this side. I haven't ever done one of those. I don't do a lot of these because they don't turn out very good when I usually do them, but I don't know, I was kind of feeling like this, and hey, you two, and I need to have some things ready that are more for gift giving, because it's getting to be that time of year. And so that's what this will hopefully turn out to be. So I can make it into a card, and I almost drank my water already. Into a card or maybe a print. It is square. I've never ordered square prints before, but it might be a thing. So, and I pulled out some of my usual flowers. This one that I'm doing here is just like a pansy. This is just like a little pretend daisy. I did little ones of that one and big ones. And then I did these are just 4-petal ones. You could do 4 or 5-petal ones over on this side. So, hey, that's showing up pretty good tonight. So, and I did draw a circle. I usually make 2 or 3 waves around it, so it's not exact and it looks more like a vine. So lots of times I paint first and then draw, but I was thinking when I was doing this that it might be better, because I want to know the placement of my paints. I'll probably do them kind of abstractly. So I want to already have that done. Let's see. So what have you guys, Cindy, I know you were live earlier today too. I actually fell asleep when I was supposed to be watching you. Sorry. Let's see. My car got a flat tire. At least it was flat when I pulled out of the garage. So Jeff and I filled it to put it back into the garage. And I guess it's already gone flat again. He said he could hear it. I thought I heard it too, but then I thought maybe I was just overreacting. we have a place we take them and they repair them free if it's like if it's picked up a rock or a nail or whatever. So hopefully that's all it is. Because I really don't want to have to pay to get a tire fixed. Now this leaf over here that I'm outlining, you can see it's kind of funky. So I will make the leaf the way I want it with the black ink. And then when I come back in, I'll erase it all. So yeah, I don't know what. We must have picked up a nail or something because it was flat. And they're newer tires. I think we just got them last year. Oops, I forgot that one right there. And I interweave the pieces. So you could see this one is under this one, which is on top of this leaf, but under that leaf. And I do that throughout the whole thing so that it feels cohesive when you're looking at it. It all flows together. And I kind of lost my heart right there, but that's okay. It'll survive. And if I do decide to make it into a card or whatever, I will digitize it. So what I'll do is I'll take a picture of it or scan it. My scanner's not plugged in right now. And to be honest, I don't like scanning things. But you should typically scan things. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So these are my 6-petal flowers. They're kind of just the sides of them. So instead of being open like this is kind of the side. And I always, to get the right amount, I always have to I have to count it out. Don't know why. It's just, you get into habits like that. And when I do it that way, I don't mess them up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they just turn out better when I do it that way. And I went and did that one because this little pansy or whatever goes behind it. And none of these flowers are like real flowers anyway. You use the scanner. Oh, you did? You had to replace them? Oh, you're making, Cindy's, if you like ephemera, like to make journals or collaging with, Cindy's packs, or I think she sells them for 15 or 20. They're totally worth it, and you guys have to get them. She usually sells them, the last Friday or the last Monday of the month instead of jewelry auction that she does, or Cindy packs. I am a huge fan. I think I bought one from her every time she has them available. I bought some of her first ones, and I will always buy them from her. I love buying vintage papers and books and stuff. So I do buy my own, but it's fun to get something from another person to mix in there so you don't get bored with your stuff. And it's fun to see how it melds and stuff that you would never have, because Cindy definitely finds things at her thrift stores that I would never find at mine. And she usually gets a fairly good idea. I got a bunch of folders from her, and then she made a ephemera thing with them and a holder. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, Cindy, and I didn't bring it in here. So Cindy took a folder that was like a pocket folder and folded it in half, and she sewed the middle. And then she put stuff inside on both sides. Brilliant. Well, some of the stuff was like pockets. She made like a pocket and then put stuff in them. And then some of them are like large. I think they're supposed to be used as journal cards or whatever. I don't do that. But I glued them on each side and then put more stuff in them, Cindy. It turned out really cool. I always alter her stuff. And I do it because she doesn't get mad that I do it. Some people don't like you altering their things. So don't tell them if you do alter them. It's none of their business. But if you bought it, it's yours. You do it once you want. But she never gets mad. And I like to share the ideas because then other people can get ideas. Oh, you and Angie. Okay. Now, Angie has a store on Whatnot that she usually does her sales on. So that's a good place to go. And Angie sells jewelry and craft stuff. So definitely check her out, guys. I always encourage you to check out these other people and subscribe to them because Cindy, she uses her, this is her business. That's her job, her full-time job. And it's mine. And I think it's Angie's now too. I don't remember. I think she retired. I don't remember. I shouldn't have even said it because I don't really remember. Just came out of my mouth. Things do. So, Cindy, I don't know if you knew, but we have an oncologist appointment on Wednesday. So we have one more day. He's had a CAT scan of his abdomen and his chest now. Over the weekend, he had a pretty rough Sunday, like a really rough Sunday. His abdomen is distended and very tight, and it's bigger than it's ever been. And he's just so tired all the time. I think he went upstairs, but I think he's just going to bed now. Sometimes he watches, sometimes. So if you're watching, hi, Jeff. I hope my lighting's better. I still have this, but that's because my light is behind it. So I'm getting a shadow, but I'm trying to show them. And I'm in low tonight. So yeah, he is definitely up for any prayers that you guys want to do. And I ordered a new Bible. So I started last spring, I joined a women's Bible study. And I think there were 6 or 8 of us in it. And we meet once a week. And we go through this Walking with Purpose, I think is what it's called. And they do a 6-week course. And last time it was about forgiveness. And I loved it. And I learned so much. But the Bible they use in their book isn't the Bible I had. And so I asked my husband, who collects Bibles but also reads them too, which Bible I should get out of the 2 that this company uses. This lady that made this Bible study groups, and they use the NAB Revised, so NABRE. So the NAB Revised, and then the other one was NAV, NAV, or AV American. I don't remember. It's something like that. So I asked him which one, and he said to get the NAB, the Revised NAB. So I went on a little spree, and I found a couple. Okay, so there is. And it's hard because I just draw them and then I decide where I'm going to have what poke through. So let me see here. I have this one over this. Thank you. It would be easier on me if I did this. Oh, I know. I'm going to move my computer. It's off to the right. It's sitting where my corner is at an angle. I'm going to move it so that it's sitting in front of me so I don't have to have 2 devices going unless I want to see the stream on Facebook, which I don't know. I do always watch that. Hold on. I'm going to have to turn this down. Okay. Late night arting. Hey, that popped right up on me. Thank you. There it is. Now I can see my messages and I don't have to. I don't have to. No, I don't want to do that either. Discard. Wow, I'm having trouble. I know the chat's moved. Can you just chat filter? All chats. Oh, boy, that was like a process. Okay. So then I won't have to use both if you don't want. It's nice to have the the YouTube stream up here in front of me, because then I can kind of see the lag, which doesn't really matter for like arting, but oops, sorry, I hit it. It does matter for my sales, which I have on Thursday morning or Thursday at noon Mountain, which is noon 2 p.m. Eastern. Okay, so I have this going over that, under that, and then back around. Okay. Oh, I did some of those flowers over here, but I didn't do any over there. I tried to repeat, but it's not exact. So let me, at least this is one of the ones that I always do, and it's more of a leaf. It just depends on how you color it or paint it or color it. And I'm going to make that. Oops. Well, I guess it's just going to go through there. So it's just 3 petals, 2 out to each side and then 1 coming up. So it isn't any big deal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so this is my first, and I didn't make it round. I didn't make it round on purpose. And this one's going to come up like this, go around like that. So there's my petal. Oh, so that leaves a little bit of that. So you could see that that's a petal. And I put these in as just filler because it wasn't looking full enough. That's one of the problems I have with these bunches is I don't do, like, I started off with my main flower here in the wrong spot. Well, this was going to be my main flower, but somehow I ended up moving this way. Doesn't really matter. No one knew what I was doing, so. Oops. So, yeah. I've been working on my studio, and I have the other side done. Well, pretty close to done. I have my torch set up, which I moved down the desk to the other side. I don't know if Barbie... Oh, you did have a horrible lag tonight. I don't think I watched any live today. There's this girl, her name's Twinell. And she does, like fashion stuff. And I don't know if you know, but I was going to go to fashion school. Actually, I was accepted into Parsons and Bowder, which are 2 of the largest fashion shows in that arena, fashion schools. And so I had a full ride at Bowder. Bowder was, I don't know if it still is, in Texas, in Dallas. And my mom and I went to look at it, and it kind of freaked me out because it's like in downtown Dallas, and it's in a building, like a high-rise building. And that was the school. It was in there. And I loved it. I loved, meeting the people and, all of that. But it kind of freaked me out because I went to a high school that was campus style. My high school was like what most colleges are. So I was used to like changing buildings and going up, not just having one building where you go up and down. So that was one of the things that kind of freaked me out. I didn't know if I could do that. Didn't know. So I ended up not. But that's okay. I love watching it. And Twinell is like this. I mean, I learned new words today that I didn't even know. Well, the last couple days. So like there's goth fairy goth style, and there's like what's it called? It was called clown porn style or something, where you have where you use clown outfits and stuff, or those kind of colors. Fairy style, Then there's more the romantic, but then there's like the bedroom romantic. I don't know. I mean, I'm just learning all this. It's so funny. It's all clothes that a 53-year-old doesn't wear. Well, some of them I liked. I do like some of them, but she's really cute. And so I just watch her. She's fun. 2, and then I have a third one down there. So, yeah, so it's hysterical. You can buy a package of where she'll style for you for $45. I think she gives you 5 pieces, 4 or 5 pieces now. And you send her your measurements and stuff and what you like and dislike. And it cracks me up when some of these people, even Jeff heard this one. So I'm going to check my whoever's likes and dislikes. And so she was reading them and she disliked everything. I mean, there was like nothing left to like. I'm like, that's going to be hard. So, and see, I have plants in here that I didn't do. So I'll know if I need to add them, or maybe I kind of do a splash coloring, not like following the lines coloring. And so I know that like here needs to be a darker, heavier color because it's a little too light right there. So that's another reason. That's another thing that you benefit from when you draw ahead of time. I have to be careful because this leaf style is very straight, and I usually do leaves like this that are curvy at the end, but these ones I want to be very straight. I don't have any of those down there. And then I'm just going to add V's to them. So that's their veining. And these are a nice one to have because you get a little bit of, you're carrying the black line out and it's kind of pointing into it. Oh, it says enjoy the little things. I don't know if I told you. I was trying to come up with something that was kind of a variant, or, kind of something that you could use for a lot of things. So I want this one to go down that way, and I'll have a curve. So when you do this kind of like a bouquet flower like this, you don't have to attach all of it, like the way it's supposed to be, because then you get like this right here. I'm going to have to focus up here. So I have this line right here. So it looks like a double line, but really that's a leaf and then it's a stem. I should have put the stem more over that way, but it's not like a tragic mistake, whatever. I just noticed it. Tomorrow night, Angie is doing clothes on Whatnot. Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, Bart. Oh, I don't have them in here. So I got a pair of Lucky brand boots, like shoe boots, and they were this pinky beige color, perforated, and I was in love with them. I picked them up because I got them from a girl that lives here in town on one of her auctions. Well, she doesn't live in Commerce City, but she lives in the area. And I came home and I sat them in my studio on the pile of stuff that now fits over there. And I noticed my big dog was chewing on something. And I got it. I pulled it out of his mouth and it was this weird thing. I don't know. I was like, what is this even? And then my little dog had a piece. And I'm like, you two, I'm going to just spank you. You two need to keep your mouths to yourself. And I went on with stuff. And then I was going to show my husband my boots because I was so excited. If you don't know, I love boots. I'll wear them from now until probably June, if I can. I was so mad because I pulled him out and my dog ate him. He ate the heel off and and he put one rip in the top part of it. If he hadn't put that rip on, I could probably on the back, I could have just put like glued on like material to the back, like upholstery material, and it would have been strong enough and I could have kept them. But the damn thing did it right on the top and front. Now, I was thinking today that if I upholstered the back of each shoe, that would look cool. And I have some fabric that I got from Cindy. It's very heavy cotton fabric, and that would work perfect. And it has those colors. It leans towards the yellows and the pinks. And I was thinking, well, I could do that. And then if I make a bow or a tie, out of it, I could put it where that hole is. So I may dig them out of the trash and do that. I'm not sure. And I'm really annoyed at my dog. Really, really annoyed. Okay, so what do we got going on here with this flower? I don't really like this. So I'm going to have a petal behind it. There. That makes a little more sense. And then, so here I have a little one here and an even smaller one there. I know. I was so mad at him. He knew it too. He didn't come in for 2 days. I would let him in my studio. I'm like, no, you can't be in here. But then he acts all wounded because you won't let him in. Whatever. I was so mad at him. Could not believe he did that. But I was thinking I could maybe get away with doing that. It depends. Because they don't have like zippers on them because they're low ones. And I have both my big toes have really bad arthritis and no joints left. And the big part of the joint of the toe. So basically what they call it is turf toe if you're playing sports or if you're a football player. So I have that in both my toes. And in my left toe, I have a screw and I've had surgery on it and stuff. So it's and you don't have any movement in your toes. Like it doesn't bend like a normal joint. It bends maybe a little, but that's it on that left toe. And the right toe just has really bad arthritis. So I have to be really careful. So when I put my foot into shoes that don't have zippers, I can't get it in far enough before I have to like flex my toe and go forward. And I'm not sure if that's going to make a difference on if I can fix them or not. I told Bear he better hope I can fix him because I'm still mad at him. Okay. I'm going to have to make that into, okay, so I messed up here, but I'll show you how I fix it because I'm trying to enlarge this one. And don't worry, I still love Bear. He's not going anywhere. He's still sticking around. Although he has terrible breath right now. I don't know what he got into. So I bought some chewies that are for dogs' breath and help brush their teeth kind of. Okay, so here's what I did was I made this leaf larger. But see, this leaf now is like cut in half. So I have to fix that somehow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this leaf bigger here. I'm going to have it come out like that. And then I'm going to have this be the main stem to these leaves. So that one goes that way. This one will come up. And I'll make one of those leaves here. Okay, and then now I have this coming off it, so I will make that into a leaf. So you can always fix things in art. It doesn't look great there, but I may add something, or I'll just make sure that maybe that'll be a place where the two watercolors bleed into each other. I don't know yet, but And while you're working on it, you see that. But as I get it further and further into it, you're not going to notice it once everything's inked up and then you have the flowers on them and such. So I'm going to do this flower. And I'm going to try really hard not to mess it up. Okay. I need to have this going out this. Okay. And that's why I didn't finish drawing this. Ooh. That's why I didn't finish drawing this daisy, because I have to figure out my floral thing here. Okay, so this is going to be like this. I'm going to come out like that. Then I need one over here. And it'll cut through here and through here. And then it'll come back down. Then I have one left to make. And I worked it around that flower because I knew I had that there. So I have changed the sketch quite a bit right in here. So I'm going to have to go in now and recreate it. But I'm going to go back to that part, this part over here, after I finish inking over here. So this right here can't do what I have it doing because it's not going to grow out of the middle. So let me finish this little daisy. There we go. And then there's a little line here. And I'm going to put this one here. And I'll do this one here. There we go. Okay. Don't drink your watercolor. At least my watercolor water is clean so far. I usually get clean water on Monday for this, and then I just use the same water the rest of the week. Or at least 3 or 4 days. So, okay. I'm going to have to, oh, I did it here too. Shoot. I didn't see that. Okay. So what I'm going to do is have, this is this strand right here that I really like. Those leaves looked really good. So I'm going to have one come off this way. And it's kind of a chubby one, which I really like. Then I have one that's going to come up this way. And I want it to go like this. And then there should be another one that I did, and it's up here. And that one will be like that. So it's usually better when you can work throughout your painting when you're outlining, if you're doing that first. So I think I'm just going to finish this flower off. It's just going to have its own thing. And then I'm going to have one come up here, and it's going to be 1, 2, 3. Oh, no. There we go. That's one of those. And then I need these leaves right here. I only have done them one place so far. So I'm going to put some of these up here. And there's no like set rule on how you do this or anything like that. Or how I'm placing my flowers. I'm just trying to fill in the spots so it looks like it's meant to be there, and balance it out. So right now goes, let's see. So it goes from up here, it comes down. Right here needs to be finished. I need some more leaves and stuff up in here. So I will probably, oops. And I didn't know if I told you, but I was doing this with one of these Sharpies. I love using Sharpie. There are people who don't and think it's anti arty or whatever. I don't really care. Sometimes I use like a calligraphy nib that has the ink storage in it. You can get them even at 2, 3, sorry, 4, 5, 6. You can even get them at Dollar Tree. Mine was defective at Dollar Tree, kind of. It didn't puncture the ink cartridge when you screwed it back together. So I punctured the ink cartridge, which ended up with ink all over me. But if you're not Kristin, you probably wouldn't have ink all over yourself. So, and I did like it. I might have it sitting up here. It came with 2 ink cartridges. I just was annoyed that I got so dirty. I don't see it up there. I may have taken it out to the front room to put it next to me. I have a Lazy Susan out in the front room that has a lot of the same pens that I have back here. So I can do stuff like this when I'm watching TV with my husband. So I'm going to put these leaves right here. This area right here is like weird. So I'm going to have them come out here, and I'm going to, I won't see the point. Okay. So then these have the straight line through them with the V's. There we go. That looks pretty good. And then I need to have another one. So that balances. So I'll have a triangle there, which is just the power of 3. The golden rule of thirds, some people call it. It was made up by the Greeks. And then they talk about the power of 3, obviously, in the Bible, in the Quran. And they talk about important numbers in Jewish. And I think 3 is one of those important numbers. So it's interesting, the history of it. The power of 3 leads you into the Fibonacci circle, which is like a snail circle. You know, it goes round and round, and it's all perfectly set out mathematically. So that's kind of cool. And here I want this leaf to go over it. So what I'm going to do is have it come right up to where that petal it connects to it. And I'm just going to make that as where it joins in. And then I'm going to have and then it doesn't look like I did it afterwards, like an afterthought. If you have a mistake, you just make it look intentional and then do it again. Don't just do it one place, then it'll stand out. So I have 1, 2, I do have 3. 1, 2, 3. I just have this one and that one, which is okay because this design's similar. So it makes a triangle there. And then here I have a triangle. So you can, in the rule of thirds, you can actually have even number of things and but they're grouped together. So one place may be grouped together. So you could have 4 and it still be the rule of thirds because the one area is grouped together to balance out the other 2. So it doesn't automatically mean that you don't have, I'm trying to think, okay, so I'm going to have this come here. You don't have to have odd numbers. I learned that in high school. I remember it being a question on our test. If I have, they showed a grouping of 4 and asked if you could have that and still call it the power, or still using the golden rule of 3 or whatever. A lot of people missed it. There's only a couple of us that got it right. But it is a good design principle to follow. There, I'm liking the way that looks better. I put a second one in there. I should put one right here. Wonder if I could do a leaf over it, but then I have that leaf over it, so probably not. Okay. So I have one of these 3 ones, and I have that one over there, and I have that one. So I have those. I think I'm going to put one of these little flowers right here, or I could put another leaf, although that might get too heavy. So why don't I just do a little flower? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. There, that filled it in. Usually I use berries to fill things in. This time I was trying not to use any berries. Because I wanted this not to have berries in it. So, and it's getting airier as it goes out to the ends, which is what I want. So, oh, I still don't have this taken care of over here. Going to have this one now. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So on this, you have the bottom one, which is big. Then you have a slight angled one, number 2, 1, 2, and then 3 and 4. Yeah, 3 and 4 should be longer and pointing up, and then finish back down. So, now I only put those 2 daisies in, so I might put a daisy up here. Although if I put it up here, it's going to pull you off. No. I may only leave 2 of those. This right here, though, that one and that one, I think I'm going to add another petal. Kind of looks like, make it more dimensional. And then this one, I have a break here. And so there. That's how that's going to go. And so now I couldn't decide. I may make I was thinking of making this brown, but I think I'm going to go ahead, and since I did it in black for all of this, I'm going to go ahead and do that. So this circle actually goes around here and down. This is fluid watercolor cold press, and it's an 8x8. It's 140, so that's what it looks like. So I used a 7-inch template. So remember I have that round pad I got off Temu that I love, that I'm getting into. And so I use that, I centered it and use that to make this. But then I want it to look like vines coming around. So this is always scary. You don't want to do it right on the circle. The circle is just a guideline. And since I'm going to have more than one stem, it's okay if it's like that. And the reason I put more than one is because usually if you have a wreath, it has a bunch of those, but also because it adds some extra interest throughout it. So I want this one to go up and around and like that. And I may not like that. We'll see. And then it's going to wind through here and I don't really see it again. I've made it so it don't see it again until it comes out here. So I'll have it over here, and it'll come out and go in, and then come out, go in, and come out, go in. So that's how that's going to look. So this lettering, this is pretty good for me. I'm pretty happy with it. Oh, I dropped my pen cap. I'm actually pretty happy with it, but I'm going to make it so that it's 3D, you know, so you use, you widen the left side on the downstroke. I'm not very good at that, so that's one reason I'm not going to do it now. I am going to erase, because if you put water on an eraser or on a pencil mark, it will be permanent. And so I'm going to erase as much as I can. I don't have any of my good erasers down here. Usually I use a white, I think it's vinyl. I don't know what it is. It's a white eraser. Or you can use a gum eraser. Not the kind that you get. Oops, I see a spot I missed. Not the kind that you get to remove glue. Those are glue erasers or gum erasers too. Those look like those. I don't know if you were a kid, but you had gas shoes and they had this heel, you know, they had like a platform kind of, or a wedge, and they were gross gummy. They were like a brownish yellow and they were gummy and you sunk in them when you walked. And I wanted those because the girl that lived across the street from me, Linda, she had them, and she was like way older than I was, but I idolized her, and she was very California hippie. And she had some, so my mom got me. I think I bugged them enough that I got a pair, and they were called Gas, I think is what they were called. So reason I don't like this is because it's leaving little yuckies all over it. I don't know what they're called. So if you use one of the ones that it's a gray kind of kneaded eraser, those don't leave any residue or little crumblies when you use them. So that's the one I like to use. The problem with those are if you drop it on the floor, and you have animals and you have hair on your floor, you're going to have a problem. Even if you have wooden or ceramic or carpet. And then, so you can't do that. So you want to make sure you keep them in a little container. Doesn't have to be technically airtight, but you know, you don't want stuff getting in there. So, they don't last very long around me, which is okay. I don't need them to. Okay, I could still, sorry, I have to do this up close. So when you are using your pencil to draw and out your whatever you're using, I just use, this is a Zebra mechanical pencil from the Dollar Tree. It doesn't matter. Lots of people will only use there art pencils, which is fine. Use whatever you want. The art police aren't going to come get you unless I tell them to. No, I'm just kidding. There's no art police. And I'll show you something that happened. I have rings on and it kind of scraped the paper. So you want to be careful when you're doing that. And it's really better if you don't touch your paper like I am, because you have wax on your hands and then it becomes a place of resist, like with a wax crayon on your Easter eggs. That can happen. Here in Colorado, oh, I was looking for my stuff. Here in Colorado, it's really dry and I don't have any lotion on my hands right now. And so it doesn't really matter. Okay. Here we go. let's get to some watercoloring. That's the fun part. So I'm washing my brush off. I'm not touching the bottom of the thing. And then I go like this. There's no color left in that one. So that's good. I just swirl it around and there's no color left. Oh, see, there was. See, up towards the ferrule, there is some. So I am going to go in and I am going to squish it against the bottom a little bit since that's where the offense was, and it's gone. Okay, and that would have been bad. It was kind of a yellow and it wasn't very light or very dark. Tomorrow they have the Denver Watercolor Association, or whatever they call it, is having their one of their outings. The thing I don't like about it is now the price is $43. Oh, I know what I didn't do. It's $43 now, and it's for 2 hours, and you don't get any instruction or anything. So I just kind of think that it's like way too much. So I'm going to go in. I don't always do this with my flowers, but it does help to give them some depth. I'm doing very light, skittish strokes. So you can see on that one. Those are very light strokes. Some people do like a stroke and then do some dots. If you flick it off your paper, you'll get kind of that dotty look on them too. Oops, I went into the other one. I did it on that one again too. Good job. So I went over, so that's okay. I'm going to make it look like I did it on purpose. And we'll do some of these up here. I'll do some on the top. So you kind of want your lines to follow where the leaves or the petals are going. So this one kind of goes like this. So I'll do a little bit of that. I don't always do the tips of the leaves, but in this case, it's necessary to fix an error. And here you can see I went over right there. Boo-hoo. So now, ideally, I would get out one of those micro pens and use a different size tip. I think this is a 7 or an 8, and that's 0.8 or 0.7 millimeter on it. So if you used a smaller one, it's lighter for one. Sorry, and it's easier to get those flicks. So make sure that when you're doing your flicks that you go see how this one, this leaf is kind of parting and goes like this. So you put them that way, but you have it go to the right and to the left, or up and down in this situation. You don't want them to just oops. You don't want them to go just straight up. You want them to have a little curve to them. Now that I'm shading that one, I will probably go back in and add just a couple lines to these. Not sure. I'll have to look at it. But yeah, you have to make a choice. I like the shading a little. I think it just looks a little more finished and sophisticated. But there are people that don't do that, and their stuff's licensed and people buy it. So it just kind of depends on your style. Especially this, because I think I'm just going to do a gradient wash around it and not, like color in the lines. It'll be more important to have a little bit of this stuff put in it. And so when I'm doing this one, I was putting some lines down from the center. Just, you can't have a dark spot and then the line, it doesn't look right. So you have to, you have to make your line pretty straight when you do that. See the difference in the leaves? Look at that flower with its leaves done. I need to put some right here. Compared to that one, it's just not flat anymore. Gives it a little bit more design. But you always do what you're comfortable with and how you like it. I don't like the way this one's turning out. It's because I was trying to avoid that leaf that's in the middle of it. So. And you'll get better as you go along, just because you're doing a repetitive motion, and it'll get easier for you through muscle memory and such. Oh, thank you for the hearts, whoever did that. So you can just do a few of it, and then as you're like warmed up shading, and you're like, okay, now I can go back and fill in some of those spots. Okay, so I know that the heart and stuff that's down at the bottom gets in the way, especially if you're on a smaller device, and people don't like it. And if they mention it, I've even done this to Cindy. If they mention it, I'll just like slam the hearts. Okay, that's like poking the bear. I know. But if you know me, I'm going to do it. So yeah, I'll start laughing, giggling to myself, and my husband will be, what is so funny? She didn't say anything funny. I'm like, yeah, but she doesn't like whoever. He doesn't like the hearts coming up and it's in the wrong space. And so I'm like flooding it, because if you start, then like people will follow. And there's this whole, and man, the people, whoever it is, the auction people, they get kind of huffy about it. But yes, I am one of those who will poke the bear. Okay, at Easter time, you know how they have the Cadbury eggs sitting out by the grocery store, or Walgreens. And you know how when you get home, somebody's poked a hole in it and you're really pissed because you like Cadbury eggs and that made you mad? I'm the one that's probably poked the holes. Also, if there's a red button that says do not press, I'm probably going to press it. I did that once at my first job at the mental health center, Shawnee County Mental Health Center in Topeka, Kansas. So that was 1994, over the summer, because I had just started. I was still in my probation period. And, the networking computers over several different offices over, in different buildings was a new thing. And there's still, you could actually literally shut down the internet and shut down the whole system if you pressed the wrong things or had access. So I was on my boss's computer because I was taking a test or doing something. So, she's in there talking, and then I noticed that there's these, controls down at the bottom of the desktop screen. And I'm sure you shouldn't press them, but I did, and it popped up the screen. And then all of a sudden it went, and it was, gone. And I was like, her name was Kathy, I believe. Kathy comes back and she's like, oh no, the computer shut down. That's always so annoying. Here, so we traded spots. She's like, here, let me get it all fixed. Somehow I had gotten into something when I was perusing her thing, because I was done with the test and it was supposed to take me a long time, and it didn't. And I didn't want to tell her I was done, because then she assumed that I wasn't taking it seriously and blah, blah, blah. It was dumb. And somehow I had shut down all of them in our office space, which was the Hope Connection, because we were under 2 federal grants for homelessness. They're McCarthy grants. And so we had our own offices, and then we had a building that was the mental health building, and they had just moved into a new, like the upper management moved into a new building across town. I shut down the whole system. The guy came over. He's like, yeah, we don't know what happened. We don't even know why it did it. And it was shut down for the day. So a lot of people got to go home, Our emergency services got shut down. I felt kind of bad for them because I worked that job then later. But yeah, everything got shut down. Now on my project, you didn't need a computer to do your job. You just had to fill in the information later. And I actually had a second office at a house that it was called Breakthrough House, I think. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. And it was a place that people could go during the day that were mentally handicapped. And so I said, oh, I can just go over there for the rest of the day. And they were like, yeah, that way you could stay working and stay on the clock. Actually, I don't know why we had to stay on the clock because we were a 40-hour salary. But if you're working with a grant, you have to account. I don't know if you guys have ever done that, but you have to account for all your time. And they have codes for everything. So that may be some of it. I have to talk to myself when I'm doing these to not go in the wrong direction. And I bounced around because I tend to get, well, like I said, I get better as I go on, but I also tend to get bored doing it in one area. I didn't used to be like that. That's a product of the head injury and the adult onset of ADD or ADHD. I don't have the hyperactivity. Boy, do I wish I did. Those people can get, if they're medicated, right, they can get a lot of stuff done. And I don't take medicine for it. I did take medicine for it when I was working on my master's thesis because I had been sick and I was talking to the doctor and she's like, so how's it going? You're sick because you're stressed and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, I'm having a lot of difficulty concentrating on my thesis and staying, focused. I said, I never had that problem when I was in college. So it must be because of the being on a computer, because I did it as a online class thing in the early 2000s. I'm adding the centers to these and I just do circles in them. You can do whatever you want. You can leave them blank and just make them all black. So I just do little circles. So she's like, well, just a second. It's really bad when you're a social worker, social services, whatever, because you administer these tests. So she came back in and had me take this test, blah, blah, blah. And, asked me questions. Well, I knew how to answer it to get the Adderall. I didn't actually take Adderall. I think I took Concerta, which is a long-lasting Adderall. It lasts like 8 or 10 hours. I didn't want to take the Adderall because I was like, I don't know, that's speed. But my brain, ADD or ADHD brains, when you give them speed, it calms it down and they're able to focus. So whatever, I know people like get a high off Adderall and they can like focus and they they take it in college when they're doing their midterms and finals and all that. But I don't get any of that. I'm just me, only now I can focus on one thing. So I don't get any of the fun side effects. So now these flowers look really complete. And this one looks like, well, what the heck? She didn't finish it. So what I'm going to do is I am going to put circles in here too. That's what I do for most of my centers. And then I'm just going to make a couple of long maybe 3. I did 3 on that one. It depends. This is a wide one right here, so I'm going to do like probably 3, and they're going to be fairly dark. I lied. I did 4 on that one. But that's all they're going to be. It's just radiating out from the center. What that does is here where I overlapped. Sorry, my cord is going dominus. Where it overlapped, I was able to cover that up. And I'm just kind of going with wherever the, like the petal, I want it to kind of curve. So I kind of curved them. Oops. That last one, oh, I did it almost exactly. That last one wasn't coming. And I'm turning my paper as I do it. I'm not turning my wrist. That one, oh, sorry, I have black in here because off topic, squirrel. I was spray painting some shelves that I'm putting up on the other side to hold my beads, you know. And so I put the spray paint down and I moved the shelf and then I was going to spray it. So I picked it up and I started to spray and the nozzle was pointed directly at my hand. I don't know. I was like not even thinking. How? And I've taken a shower, washed my hands, done everything, but it's still stuck in there. So that helps finish that daisy off. I'll call it a daisy. None of this is going to be, you know, realistic flowers. So it doesn't really matter. I'm kind of going to continue that one off so they don't have the petals attached to this flower. I'm trying to think what I'm going to do with, these leaves to make them look a little bit more, you know, finished. This is why when I doodle, I usually leave it open like that, but I do think it adds more character to your pieces if you have them, if you do the shading in them and stuff. I think people, when they're looking at stuff, think you took more time to do it, which this does take more time. But then if you're selling stuff, like I like to sell things, you're over your dirty hand gripes. Yeah, gel printing does it too. I try and do all my stuff that's going to stain early in the week. That way by Thursday I can mostly get it off, but it doesn't always help. Okay. Now, I do know that I am going to color these in, and these are going to be black. So these are just those 3 petaled ones. So it's 1, 2, and then 1 coming out. I'm going to color those black. And I could actually get out my big Sharpie. So a couple things. Sharpie writes a blue black, not a true black, but if you actually get down close or do it on, this is pretty white paper. I don't know if they call it white, but no, they don't call it. Well, here. Do they call it white paper? No. Okay. So watercolor paper is usually kind of a cream like this. And so I'm doing black. This is pretty white. And I'm doing it with my Sharpie. And if I would switch to another pen, like the micro pens, you know, they have Micron and Stabilo and all of them do. They're the pens you buy, and there's like 6 or 7 to a set, and they go from 0.1 up to 1.0. And then they usually have a brush one in there. If I switched, you would be able to tell the different colors in black. It's like when you're, if you're a woman, when you are trying to match your blacks, you know, your shoes and your pants or whatever, you know, blacks are really hard to match because they do show differences in color. So where's another one of those? Oh, there's one. So yeah. And if you color them in, like I didn't like the shape of that petal, so I was able to make it more of what I wanted because I'm coloring it in. And so I can make it the size I want as long as it's bigger, you know. Hi, Bear. Bear, come here. Oh, it's upside down. Okay. Say hi, Bear. Where are you? Here. Why can't it show you? What? It's not. Oh, no, he's leaving. There he is. Bear. Will it? There. Hi, Bear. Yeah, hi, buddy. Come over here. Yeah. There you go, Bear. Bear, Bear. There's his ears. He's my buddy at night. He's not my buddy most of the time. But at night, he's always down here protecting me. Okay, I got it back. Now I have to refocus. That probably made you all sick and you're like, what the heck are you doing? So I showed off Remy. He was wanting up on my lap before my before I went on live at a auction last week. Yeah, big boy. I don't have anything. Oh, I lied. I do have one piece of cheese. There you go. That's all I have. All gone. All gone. So now I have these two that are colored. So I have to find some more coloring. And that's going to be a balancing act. Oh, so I was telling you about the blacks. So really, whatever you start your outline in, if you want to use for black, then you're probably going to have to use the same one throughout. Which, I mean, most people, that doesn't matter. But that's just one thing I do know. And that's because I have had that happen to me. There. So this one up here, I'm totally reshaping it. You can see I redrew it. And it got kind of fatty, chubby. It's a chubby one. I don't know if these are flowers or leaves or what. They're just a 3-petal thing. I don't even know if like other people use them, but it's one of the doodle shapes that I've always used. So, okay, so there I have that one up there. So that's kind of evening it out. I'm going to put one in right around here probably. And then I don't have any down here. So I might do some little ones. I don't know. We're going to have to see. So I have those leaves that are decorated, but these leaves down here aren't decorated. And I don't know what I'm going to do about that. It's a little difficult. I don't know. But see, it's not balanced because that's like that. And there'll be shading on this. Like I said, it will be, you know, thick on the downstroke and thin on the upstroke. And I do that backwards. I always do thick on the upstrokes and thin on the downstrokes. Always, consistently. If I don't sit here and talk about it, that's why I'm going to do that in pencil and tell myself to do it that way. It won't turn out right. So I do need to add, those are big. So I think I'm going to add one right here. And these will be a little smaller down here because this is a little smaller. I'm sorry, I'm probably blocking you. But you saw me do it. It's just coloring in. I have a coloring page that has these, and I think I made them all black in my coloring page. So there's one down there. I think I'm going to put one down here. So I'm going to make it go through this flower. And then up here. So there's two. Oops, I went that again. It's a good thing that doesn't move, you guys. It just moves my thing. So, and I'm a terrible colorer. I never stay in the lines when I coloring. Like my daughter and my granddaughter used to. She doesn't really anymore. But my daughter, I give her all my alcohol markers and all my Tombows. I had the complete Tombow set. I I gave her all those because coloring stresses me out because I have to stay in the lines. So it's not helpful for me. Not helpful at all for me to relax. I do have some coloring pages I made several years ago, and I will put them up on my Ko-fi. I do have a Ko-fi site, and I will link that. I don't know. They use Ko-fi a lot it's Ko-fi. It's just like Etsy, only they don't charge you to put the things up, and they don't take as much fee from you, which I like. So it was too light right here. It was not flowing well. Your eyes were getting stuck. So you could also do this with your black Posca. I don't have a black Posca that's thin, so that's why I don't do that. But that would be a good one to do it with too. And Posca is just an acrylic pen. So you can actually buy knockoffs of Posca. Don't feel bad about that. There are a lot of them out there. And that's what I've always used until Posca became like the thing. So that's looking a little better. I'm going to put one over here, probably come in like that. Let's see. How should we do that? I'm going to put that one's really big. And that one is too. So I'm going to put another one down here because I like the way that looks up there. That actually turned out pretty good. So I think I'm going to add maybe, should I do it here? Because that would be these three together. This is like one in the triangle. And so I don't want to put a third one here, but I do think that right now, because this is a lot of open space, I do think if I did one right about there, it would be nice. And I want it to go this way. So I'll probably have it come out. And since it's black, it's going over everything, so that's okay. I made it really long. Looks like a tongue. So, because I did want it bigger like that one. So I'm rounding it out. But anyway, so I do have my Ko-fi site. I think they use it a lot more in England and for scrapbooking things, or journaling things, because everybody who scrapbooked now journals, it seems. That's where they jump to there. Oh, that doesn't look too bad. So I think it needs another one. Oh gosh, I did it again. I want a little one up here. That one tucked in kind of nice down there. And I feel like there needs to be one up here. And it's just the flow. It's just how your eye flows is how I'm coming up with it. And I'm going to have it come out here. And this one I want a little bigger. Not probably, this one ended up being huge. So this is an abstraction of a fleur-de-lis. Because the fleur-de-lis comes down like this, or up like this, then in, then has that, and then comes down and like that. I love fleur-de-lis. So I think that's where I got this from, was when I was trying to make, there's these challenge, and you do this in school too, but you have to take one thing and draw it 50 different ways. And I did that I only made it up to 20 or 25 before I got bored. But I did that with some things. Okay, I'm liking that more and more. So it probably needs one more right in here. So I'm going to oblige it and put it right here. It needed a connector. So it's a smaller one. And it'll make more sense when I get the color going on here. Okay. Before I do that, I want to make sure, especially where I colored, that it is dry. Because normally Sharpie won't smear on you, but occasionally it can. And I need one up in here. I think I'm going to have it come out of here, do like this. And like when I said, I don't know if other people do this shape or not, I'm not saying that I came up with it first or anything. There's nothing really original in art. If you like to read books about, being a better artist or whatever, there's a book on how to steal like an artist. And it talks about, how everybody, it's not like copyright infringement. It's like how you, use brush strokes like Van Gogh, or, use the same process as, I don't know, who else did funky? Matisse for his collages. One of his processes for collage, I think he had 100 and something different shapes, or 72 seems to be popping out in my brain right now. But he had those set different shapes, and that's what he used to collage with. So that's what Steal Like an Artist is a little bit about. So I need to. So yeah, there aren't any new ideas. Van Gogh does. He mostly worked in pastels. He mostly worked in oils, as we all know, but he would run out of canvas because his brother was the one that sent it to him, Theo, his brother. And so he would run out, and he would use, he would either start painting over that canvas, which there are several of those, and they have x-rays showing the pictures that he painted over. And he even talks about the one painting he did that he had run out and he hadn't gotten his new shipment. So he just took one that he thought he could go over. I think it's the Raven is the picture. You can look it up. I think it's the Raven. And they've x-rayed it, and you can see the other picture under it, the other painting under it. But he would do watercolors for studies to get the light and to get, to take it down like as in a sketch or whatever, only in a painterly fashion. And wow, I only have 3 of those. Or 2 of those. I don't have 3. I could put one here. I don't know. They look pretty good like that. So these, I'm going to make a shape in them, because usually pansies have the yellow in the middle. So I'm just making a funky shape in those. That's just to add the touch to it. You may not like that. You may not want to do that to yours. If you guys do ever do anything that I do, I hope you do. If you do, tag me at #designsanddoovers. That way I can see it. I don't have those pansies over here, which is strange. Okay, so now we still have the naked leaves and the naked heart, but the naked heart's okay. I probably should have made that a flower or not, whatever. So what am I going to do? Oh, I have an idea. Night, Cindy. See you around and creating on the internet. Okay. So that's what I'm going to do, is that to those leaves. I was trying to think of what I'd done before to these leaves. And honestly, I couldn't remember. So I don't know if this is what I usually do to them. They're like the leaves, they're dark green, and then they kind of got a whitish center, and they're kind of round like that, like this shape. And then they're spotted, and it has like a pink in it. So that's kind of what these look like. That's what I was thinking of when I did them anyway. And I'm just doing that because I was silly and started doing it with all the others. So now when I watercolor on top of this, it will fill in the black and those spaces will show through. So I don't mind that it's not solid black like my solid there. How about you focus? There. You can see that my black isn't solid. That's okay. Are you going to focus? Thank you. So that's okay. That'll look kind of cool, actually. You'll be able to see the... Okay. Oh, yeah, that's finishing out those leaves really nicely. I may have come up with something new for myself. It's all about taking chances. And I didn't do even on both sides of the leaf. It doesn't matter. Okay, so now we're going to go down here and do it again. So I'm just starting at the top and making one little one and one longer one. Then I go down next like that. So this one didn't quite get up enough. So I'm going to flick it a little bit more. There just wasn't enough coloring in it for whatever reason. I should have made the stem a little longer probably. Like I said, I wasn't planning on doing this. Like this one, this stem's really little. So I am going to make it a little bit longer. And when you're using a marker and you're making something longer or shorter, I try and start in the line and go up so that it looks like it was always that way. But it doesn't always work. There's a pansy right there. And I didn't do this. Cool. Oh, oops, I just added a dot. And I'll probably splatter around out here and then in here a little bit. You don't want to do too much to where the words are. I just may make it a gradient when I put it on the computer. Now for the sake of here, I might leave it blank. I don't know. I usually like to plant. Ooh, that's cool. What time is it? I don't even know. It doesn't say how long I've been on. Yes, it does. 11 hour and a half. Wow. I've been on a while. It was kind of relaxing. I don't think about waiting to go to Jeff's appointment or any of that stuff when I'm arting. And that's only when I can get into it. I don't always feel like I want to get into it. Okay, so now I've got to figure out. Okay, I'll just leave that there for a second. What did I do? I found a whole pile of scraps. Let me go over there. I must have put them there. You're going to have to move, honey. Come on, move, honey. It's okay. Don't get scared. What did I do with those scraps? Those aren't them. Where did I put them? Did I put them in a drawer? I mean, I found a huge load of scraps, guys. I'll show you this too. What do you think I did with them? Because I'm not sure how I want it to. Darn it, I needed those scraps. Is that one? Nope, that's not one. Kristin, what did you do with those? So, I don't know what I did with them. So I guess I won't do that. I'm going to show you. I printed out some prints to give as thank yous when people bought stuff. And so they didn't turn out right because they didn't matte them. I asked for matte and they did it glossy. This has a protection on it too. But that's my bunny. I did the starfish for Inktober several years ago. So I've got a few of those. Then this one. So there's the flowers I did then. And I am sure that I inked first and painted second. I would do them so different now. Maybe I should do that for you guys, is use these as a reference. Okay, there we go. There's a joy I painted. I think this original is still available and this one is still available. So see, I did the downstrokes. No, I did the upstroke. Which one? I did both sides. Even though you're supposed to just do that one, it was really hard for me, but I did that. And I used different colors and bled them into each other. So the whole thing was wet. And then I just used my paint and put it down in them. So that's how that was. Oops, that one's out of order. I don't know what this goes to. This one is one of my graphic ones. I love this one. I think this one's still available too. And they're fairly good, nice size. It's like an 8x10. And this one's framed. This one's framed. So they're going to be like $50 because they're framed. Oops. That's me and my little sister and Arminda, who took care of us. I think that's who that was. And then, oopsie, what is this? Oh, there's Petunia. I used to have a business with a friend, and it was called, we were coaches, business coach, small business coaches. And what is that called? Accountability partners. So we did that. And this is done on a very cheap watercolor paper. And I drew my pig in. I did this all of it was done with watercolor pencil. So I don't think I have I think this is the last one of that pig. And the original is available to that, but I'm not selling it. So those are what I have. Now that didn't take care of the problem though. Okay, we're going to use this. It's not the same paper as that, which is okay. It doesn't have to be. I'm just trying to see how I want my effect to be. On the back, it has something from an auction that I'm supposed to send somebody pictures. It doesn't say what pictures. It says the name and send pictures. Like, that's unhelpful. I think this is the green I usually like with a little bit of this green in it. Yeah, I just mix on my palette. It doesn't matter. So I'm going to have that flow. And then what color? If I use blue, it's going to be okay. And I like this blue, I think, with a little bit of that blue. I'm going to put this in there, and I'm going to put it up here. And you can watch as the pigment will push each other around. One will win because it's a heavier pigment. So, and then I want maybe some yellow. Not that one. I need a more golden yellow. Not so. Let's add some yellow ochre to it. So that is one way I can do it. And I can cause it to flow by itself, or, you know, just with its own volition. And then what I would do is, we lost a lot of that blue. So I'll go back in here, and then I added some of this blue too to it. So I have two colors of blue, but we lost a lot of that. And there's something on my paper there. So then I'll go back in here to my greens. The green got kind of dirty. That's okay. I think that's what I want. I don't know that these are the colors I want, though. Honestly, I don't know what colors I want on that. One thing I do like is, see, that made the yellow kind of a bluey yellow, greeny, which that I like. I like it a lot better now. Let's dry my brush off a little bit. Oops, not with yellow on it. And I'm going to pick up some of this. If you have a dry brush, you can pick up the extra on it, and I'm just rolling it. Now, I don't want to go to green to yellow, or else I'll get more of this. Or yeah, because I'll get more of that, and I don't want more of that. And you can see it's pulling the pigments around. So I kind of like the pattern that it's leaving. Okay, I'm going to rinse my brush out, dry it off, and roll it through my yellow. Oop, there's a fly in our house. Bear, get it. So, and then as it dries, I can go back in and do it. This would be a good time to put some salt down. Move it around a little bit more. Like the green kind of took over. So I'm going to go back into my yellow and add some more yellow to it. It's not going to flow near as much now. It's just going to flow a little bit, blooming more color. Okay, let's get some of this. And some of this effect is because of the paper that this is on, and some of it's because of how we're painting it. So I have a very dry brush again, and I'm just going to go in and kind of pull a little, because I do want a little bit of mixing to happen. I'm going to hold it down this way because I want that yellow to go down. I like that. Then I'm going to go this way. It's fun to do these kind of pictures and pull out make the paint go one way, you know, and do your drips, and then turn it upside down and finish the painting upside down. So I think I actually, let's see, this is a little tealer than that. It's a different green, but up here, see how the green kind of goes up in there? I'm going to drop that. I'm going to drop, and it's leaving a pattern, so that's fine. Okay. Now that blue is actually going into the yellow up here, so I'm going to just add a little bit of it. And I changed the color of blue. It's a little darker, and I did that so that there'd be more definition in where I put it. And this paper isn't flat, so it kind of, the water is going where the curves are. But I do like that a lot better. So I think maybe that would be it. I don't think that these are the colors I want to use, because I do have flowers on there. But I could use these colors, because the blue sky, the green ground, and the yellow for the sun. So that's turning out pretty good. I'm not feeling it tonight. So I could also, if I had a flower drawn, I'll show you. I'll do it bigger. So we'll do a flower here. So Oh, this must have been wet here. Okay. So there's my flower. I just used these cheap, they're called Touch Raven, and they're just, I got like a 4 or 5 pack for like $2 off Temu. So there's that. I like my centers to be bright. So I'm going to go in. I have a dry brush. It's fairly dry, and I'm going into dry paper. And then, since I did that, let's use a purple. I got a couple different purples here, and I don't want them to mix yet because that's too much yellow. Oh, I know what I can do. So yeah, that's too much. It's very watery. So what I'm going to do is use my paper towel to kind of pick it up, and I just hit the top of it. I didn't even hit the paper. And then I can go in here and add my, and not maybe paint it exact, or I could paint out of the line a little bit more in the same shape. You keep the same shape. This one, I'll go up there, and this one we can go over there. Maybe I'll do it like that, and then each flower can have its own coloring and stuff. And let that be where the, it comes out like that. And now I'm letting it go. I'm going to let this, if the yellow wicks up into there, that's okay. Wick, not wicks. Wick up in there. I may do it this way. I'm kind of feeling this more. Especially the pansies would be this coloration. Exactly. I don't know. You know what I'll probably do? I will scan it and just onto copy paper. You can scan it. Well, my copy machine scans and prints, so I could scan and print it and then try it both ways. And maybe then I will show it to you. I do have 90-pound watercolor paper that I can fit through my printer. So I might do that. And then next week I can show you it. Because then I could practice on either one of those and kind of see. And I'm not ruining the original. So those are the styles. So either, paint but not paint within the lines. Or abstract, kind of run into each other, kind of coloring for this. If I did this, now my brush is damp but not wet, I think I would go back in after and keep the lines from getting harsh like that and do so more of it spreads. My yellow was still a lot wetter, so it didn't have that. So maybe it would look a little bit more ethereal with it. So what I did was I got some pigment over there and it spread it out. And then I'm just going to keep using the water and let it spread. I have a lot of blue, so let's see if I can get this blue to, okay. I dipped it in there because I wanted a little, but maybe soften it out like that. And then come back in over here. And let's do my yellow, a little bit of yellow ochre. Soften it out so it's not so harsh, which I'm not good at fades like that either. I love that look. That's much better. It would have to be a fade like that. And I'm not exactly sure because this almost looks like the shape of the flower. Although blue flowers are very rare in nature. And then I could come in with yellow over here. And it could fade into them. That may be how I do it, is a little bit more of a fade. And I could do it if I do it with this purple, if I paint outside the lines a little bit like that. I could do it dark and let it, gradiate it and then let it kind of fade out. Oh, baby, that's even better. Oh, you guys see? That's why sometimes you want to practice ahead of time because I'm not sure. And I can't see pictures in my head. So I know what I want it to look like, more of the fade like this. That's more of what I wanted, even though I created what I did before. What I wanted was that. And so I can't see those pictures in my head because of head injuries. So for me, I have to experiment. And there's nothing wrong with experimenting. I may like the way this turns out, and I can just take a picture of it and put it in my pen or in my Procreate, and this can be a background. And it's one I've made, so there's no copyright infringements or anything. And I do have a whole bunch of them that I've made, and I may put some of those, they're called brushes, if you use Procreate, you know. And I may put some of those up on Ko-fi too. One at a time or something. You don't have to buy a whole bundle. I have some backgrounds that I've done. So I kind of like that more. I want it to fade out a little bit more. So yeah, that may be what I do. So yeah, I kind of liking the way that looks now, even with the extra, there was something drawn on there. You can see I did a heart up here. So this paper was waste paper anyway. So it wasn't ever going to be, you know, some paper that I was like so in love with that I wouldn't try new things on it. And it's fun to do that. You can always find a use for these kind of papers. Rip them up. Rip that puppy up and use it in a collage or a journal, or leave it like this and flip the back over and put some coffee dyed paper on it and be totally awesome because you created your own. It's going to get a little brown up here because purple and yellow are complementary colors. And that's what happens when you use one. It dulls out the other one into, you know, whatever color it is. And it'll eventually get brown if you have enough pigments running together. Oops. That got really, my juicy brush got really in there. Okay. It needs more blue down here. That's why I was adding that, but I don't want that to run like that. Okay. Yeah, my brush is pretty juicy. There we go. Well, so there. See here, this is a real definitive line, and I don't want that. Remember, I said I wanted it to be more ethereal, so I'm just going in and adding some water. No biggie. And that's what I'm doing here. Because I wanted these, and I want that pigment to not have brown as much. So that's what I'm doing. And since it's wet, I'm adding, my brush is fairly dry, heavy loaded with pigment, but fairly dry. So that will happen. And I'm going to put some yellow down here. So yeah, that turned out, actually, I kind of like that. I may use it as a card. I'll go maybe because there's some extra lines back there, so I may add some extra lines to make it look a little bit more cohesive. But oh, I didn't want to do that either. Sorry, I'm talking and I'm thinking. So okay, let's try this off a little bit. Okay, so that's running pretty good. There we go. I do like that a lot better than when it was harsh. That may be the secret, is I make too harsh lines. Could very well be. And it's also going to depend on your paper. This paper, the water doesn't soak in like it does in cotton. And so it's going to flow different. And I know that. So that's why I keep adding water and keep going back and forth with the colors and stuff. it's dried down here, or it's damp, and it's not as bright as up there. So I'm going to go in and I'm just going to add, oops, there was some green on my thing. Just going to make it a little bit brighter down here. Yeah. So that's what we finished tonight. And then this, oops, that's upside down. And then this, and I will make copies of this and put them on probably my 90-pound watercolor paper, and then try it a couple different ways. So I don't know. I do really like how that is. Let's see here. There, you can see some of those blooms better. Blooms are a no-no. They think that means you're not. Old-fashioned watercolorists think that that means that you're not in control of your medium, but you are in control, especially if you're putting blooms in where you want them, like over here. And now I'm just adding drops of plain water to it, and those will create blooms too, which is what I want. And I'm not gonna, I won't be here tending to it. I'm just having fun doing that. If I had some salt in here, I might put salt on it. It's very important when you put salt, you'll learn. It's a learning process, but you have to let it dry a little bit, but don't let it dry too much, because then it won't give you the effect. See how the water bloomed, which is what I wanted. So I'm going to put a couple more drops, and I'm just flicking them in. I have no there, and we're going to let that sit overnight and see how it turns out. I'm getting some good blooms though. Awesome sauce. Well, thank you guys for being here. I know a lot of you watch this like later in the night or later during the week, so I appreciate all that. Please leave a comment and let me know what color I should paint my flowers. And then also let me know if you're working along with me or if you're making something of your own. And if you are, hashtag designs and do-overs. That way I can see it, because I'd love to see all your creativeness. Look at that, yummy. And then have a great week, guys. I appreciate you all being here, and I will see you next week on Late Night Arting, and have a great weekend. I appreciate you all.